Alright, Shalom. Shalom. This is your brother Issachar coming back at you for another lesson. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba Hashem, Wakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect and the 144,000 scattered across the four corners of the earth. Shalom to you. Alright, in today's lesson, we're going to go into do you know what kind of day it's going to be when the Lord arrives? Because a lot of people are, expecting the Lord to be all, love and when the Lord gets here, everything's going to be all right and there's going to be no problems. And no, this is the thing, This is what we're going to cover today to let you know what kind of day it's going to be when the Lord arrives. All right? Just to kind of let you know what type of day it's going to be. What type of mood the Lord's going to be in. What type of day it's going to be like. It's not going to be like, when, those of you in the world that celebrate your birthdays and, where it's all, it's, you're not supposed to be doing that anyways. For those of you that just came into the truth, birthdays, that goes back to the Pharaoh. All right. That goes back to, it goes back to the heathen. All right. Cause it's self-worship. All right. We don't worship, ourselves, So that's a heathen practice that goes back to that goes all the way back to the Pharaoh of ancient Egypt. All right, those of you if you don't know, now you know. It's just a quick FYI. Amos chapter 5 and verse 18. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. Okay, exclamation mark. See? So there's an exclamation mark because that stands for, like caution. It's like it's exclamation mark, So you have to know, that means that like caution is going to be very, exciting, but it's going to be very breathtaking, To what end is it for you? See that question mark? See? So to what end is it for you? Because a lot of people are waiting for the Lord and calling on Jesus Christ, and you have no idea. You don't even know who the Lord is. If you're calling on Jesus Christ, and when you pray to the Lord, and a so-called and the image of a so-called white man pops in your head, that's not the Lord. Okay. The Most High, his name is Yahweh, and the Lord and Savior, who sacrificed his life willingly on the cross, all right, who was resurrected 3 days later, his name is Yahweh Shai. Okay, he's a Hebrew Israelite from the tribe of Judah. He was born in Bethlehem, Judea. All right, so to what end is it for you? Right, because a lot of you think, oh yeah, I'm waiting for the Lord. A lot of you Christians, are telling people out here, if you believe in Jesus Christ, then you got nothing to worry about. You got everything to worry about. Okay, that's not his name. All right, that's not his name. So a lot of you guys don't even know him. And a lot of you think that you're on good ground, and you're not. This is what you have to understand. It's a very serious deal here. The day of the Lord is darkness and not light. Right there. All right. The day of the Lord is darkness and not light. It's very dark because the Lord's a man of war. The whole point of the second coming is to put people down. All right. The Lord's about to lay you gremlins down. Facts. Verse 19. If a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him, or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall and a serpent bit him. So right there is Because if you escape from a lion, a bear is going to get you. If you escape a bear, a serpent is going to get you. So basically, there's no escape. All right, there's absolutely no escape. So if you escape from the famine, then the martial law troops, the UN troops, the super soldiers, the drones, whatever the left-hand side has planned is going to get you. All right, if you escape that, then the demons or the angels are going to get you. And if you escape that, then the ICBMs are going to get you. If you escape that, then Yahushai, the king himself, is going to get you. There's no escape from Yahushai, from Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. It don't matter if you're in the most expensive underground city, if you're in the, a top tier, a space station, okay, that's going to be playtime for the angels, because now you're on the, now those you that are up there in the space stations, that's the angels' playground, Now you're in deep water, but with the angels. It's kind of like if you're like in a deep ocean, let's say you fall off a boat, and you scrape your leg, and a shark can smell your blood, and you're in deep ocean waters with no boat, no nothing. Okay, you're in the great white. You're in his playground. Okay, you're in his territory. See, all right. Same thing with the angels. Those of you that are up there, in those space stations and all that, you're in the angels' territory. All right. And plus, you heathens and Edomites, you can barely move up there. You can't even move that fast up there. It takes you guys a long time to move things around up there. You know how fast the angels are. So imagine when it's time to fight. It's gonna be a complete slaughter. It's gonna be very bad, extremely bad. Amos chapter 5, verse 20. Shall not the day of the Lord be darkness and not light, even very dark, and no brightness in it? So very dark, no brightness in it. Because the Lord is going to save the elect, but the elect will scarcely be saved. Scarcely. So that's something that you have to understand, So, because it's going to be a very frightful day. When these heathens and Edomites go to war, it's not pretty, because they have jets, they're dropping bombs on each other. People are blowing each other up with tanks, grenades, machine guns, There's a lot, so it's, it's not pretty. So you imagine when the Lord gets here with the spaceships, with the angels. And remember, the angels don't just have lasers, Imagine the weapons in this world, All right. Okay. Well, imagine what the angels and the Lord has. Okay. Look at all the weapons that you mortals have in this third dimension. All right. Well, imagine what the angels got. They don't just got lasers and can just fly. Imagine what they have. You gotta really think about that for a sec. So those of you that are gonna fight against the Lord, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. Pretty bad. Pretty darn bad. Let me get one more precept. There we go. So this is just to let you guys know out there, don't forget what time we're in, So it ain't just like, oh yeah, the Lord's coming back to tear people up and that's it. No, you gotta remember the Lord is gonna save his elect, but you have to understand that we're in very serious times. You gotta really understand that. Remember, where you're gonna see bodies start to drop out here very soon. All right, because the wicked, the Satanists, the top elites, they're not playing. They're really pushing for that new world order. And a lot of you guys that are gonna be separated from your families, find yourselves in concentration camps. You guys are gonna realize that finally, but when it's gonna be too late, because how much more does these top elites and the self-proclaimed white man have to do to you to show you that he does not like you, that he cannot stand you, us, the Israelites? All right. You gotta really put that in your mind. You gotta take that off. And just be like, oh yeah, the Israelites are just extremists and they just hate Esau. No, remember, okay, these are just words that we're speaking of to warn that they got these elites. Esau has concentration camps. Guillotines. You see, and people want to paint the picture like the Israelites are hate. These are just words to warn you. We're not over here with axes saying, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go out and take out white people." No, okay, but these elites, have pretty much have everybody on death row out here. But people are still like, "Oh no, they're not that bad." Well, go for it. Go for it and trust in them. But remember, don't cry when they backstab you. When you find yourself in a concentration camp, or when they clone your ass. Remember, it don't matter how much work you put for them. If you're a high level witch, even if you're an assassin for him, it don't matter. He will turn on you. You will be green lighted from him sooner or later. When he's done with you, when he's done using you, as a little pet, he will turn on you. All right, but that's just an FYI. If you love your daddy Esau, then go for it. All right, but we're gonna laugh at you because the Lord told you. So don't look at us like, oh nah, hey, remember the Lord told you already. The book of Revelation, chapter 1 and verse 3. Blessed is he that readeth, and that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein. See? That are written. So you got to keep the things that are written. All right? Not the things that you feel is right. Not according to what the community, okay, is to what you feel is right. Remember, remember that, because a lot of people are going according to what they feel is right, because it's the truth, because the majority of conversations out here, when they talk amongst their family, when they talk amongst friends and coworkers, it's all about, well, what do you think? Well, I feel, and not, putting no one down out there, just making it clear of the conversations that are going on around the world, because people are literally going to what they think is right, and it's not to put you down, but remember, the Lord already has it written and instructed. Remember, you didn't create yourself. That person might be a good parent, might have graduated from college, might be a damn good person, a loving, kind parent, but that don't mean that you know the truth of how God, the Most High Yahweh, looks, and how He is, because you're going based on, your family tradition. Oh, well, because my grandma, my grandpa told me that, the Lord looks like this, and that's just what we do. It's our family tradition. I understand that, and that's cool, but that don't mean that that's the truth. I'm not saying that your family's bad, because you're probably good people, but that don't mean that you're representing the Lord right, that you're explaining how the Lord looks is correct. See? All right? Because, you got good people out there, good families out there, who are good, loving people, and but the thing is that, remember, our people have been lied to for a very long time. All right? So, you got to understand, that's why people just believe, well, my grandma, my auntie, and my uncles, my grandpa, they believe in, being Catholic and that, this and that. But how do they get it? And where do they get it from? Remember, we've been slaves for a very long time. Remember, it doesn't mean just because, someone's a Catholic or whatever, that person's a bad person. It just means that that person doesn't have the 100% truth. You know what I'm saying? All right. So, because it's just to make things real clear out here, because you have to have the facts. It's talking about the Lord here. So, but that's how a lot of people go, because a lot of people go, I feel, I think. See, and that's right there where the majority of you guys are making your mistakes, because you're going according to what you feel. You're going according to what you think is right. You see, all right, and it's not like that at all. you got to go according to what is written. Read it again. Revelation chapter 1 verse 3. Blessed is he that readeth. Okay, because you have to read it. It's not just what you feel or what your community says or what your grandma and grandpa say. All right, not putting them down. Remember, it's just that if they're not teaching in the names of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, it's not the truth. All right, just remember that. Blessed is he that readeth, because you have to actually read what the Lord is saying, not according to your imagination, what you feel is right. Now look at these Edomites, okay, the so-called white man. You know, they're all in this death culture, all this Satanist vibration. Do as thou wilt, do whatever makes you feel happy. Now look, you got men chopping off their rods, men trying to be women, women trying to be men. This shit's all fucked up out here. Excuse my Italian, you know, and you wonder why this world is all messed up. It's because the so-called white man said, oh, it's all right. It's all good. It's not good. Now this Edomite, these Edomites, they're in so much trouble that the Lord's going to exterminate them. You still think it's all right? See? Remember, he's a dumbass. Okay? Remember that. You know? Not just, oh, the so-called white man's a devil. No, he's really a fucking idiot, you know? He really doesn't give a damn about you, himself, or his own people. You know? Facts. You know, there should be, especially in America, there should be no reason why there's a white person that's homeless or a veteran who's homeless. But that just goes to show you, you know, they don't even care about themselves. You know? Facts. Blessed is he that readeth, because you have to go according to what the Lord's saying, not according to your family tradition. You know? See? And that's where a lot of you, especially those in the north, that's where a lot of you guys go off. Because you go, oh, well, my grandma, my grandpa, you know, I was raised Catholic, so, you know, that's just kind of the way I'm going to be. And I understand that. But that don't mean that that is the truth, you know? See, about our Creator. See? All right? And they that hear the words of this prophecy, because it's the words, it's not according to your emotions, not according to what you feel is right. Okay? And keep those things which are written therein. See, so the things that are written down. Okay, not according to what you feel is right. Remember, now everything's all messed up because people are on that Aleister Crowley, oh, do as thou wilt. Well, I'm going to do whatever makes me feel happy. Go for it. Now look, you got people over, 300, 400 pounds because they can't stop eating McDonald's and all that. You ever seen those people who are like oversized like crazy? You know? And it's like, oh, well, that makes them feel happy, so just keep on letting them eat a double cheeseburger every day because, hey, it makes them feel happy. Just let them do it. Fuck it. Now look at them. You know, about to die. You know, can't even breathe. You know? I mean, there's, you know, sometimes, you know, people, you know, you got to give them a little bit of luxury. But, I mean, not that much where, you know, if someone's going to kill themselves and just eat till they, you know, look like a damn elephant. I mean, you telling me that's all right? Now that person can't even live. You know, that person can't even walk. He can't even bend over, tie his shoes. You know, that person's just dying right there. You know, because, oh, well, you know, it makes him feel happy to eat a cheeseburger every day, so let's do it. You know, it's like, well, fuck. But now that person or a woman is gonna live, and those people are being tortured. You know, because like, you know, they can't get no girlfriends or boyfriends. You know, they live lonely. You know, they can't even wash themselves. You know, that shit's crazy. But this is what America pushes. Do whatever makes you feel happy. I mean, shit, man. I mean, you can do things, but not up to a certain point. That's why there has to be structure. You know? That's why there has to be an order. Structure, there has to be. Because if it's just do whatever the fuck you want, excuse my Italian, hey, people get hurt. You know? It's lawlessness. You know? Imagine the society right now with no cops, you know, no firemen, no nothing, just everybody out here just running wild. It'd be fucking nuts. Imagine, with no order, no nothing. It'll be wild out here, and that's what's gonna happen. Because real soon, when these shutdowns happen, when these civil wars and all that break out, it is gonna be a free for all, and you guys are about to see that. Okay, because without the police officers and all that out here, and all that, I mean, it'll be total crazy out here. Without you gotta have some type of order. You know, yes, there is. Because some of you guys say, oh well, these cops are corrupt. Yes, there is some cops that are corrupt, but there are good cops who really try to help people. Who really try to defend against real bad people. You know what I'm saying? So there comes a point where you have to have an established order. It's just like that for anything. You got to have order. You got to have something set up. You can't just do whatever you feel, and this is the outcome of that. All that do with that will spirit. Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. See? And keep those things which are written therein, because you gotta keep the law, statutes, and the commandments to the best of your capability. No one's gonna keep it 100, but you gotta try. That's why that fear. All right. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 1 verse 7. Bear with me. Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. Right, because the Lord's telling you to keep the things, meaning keep the law, statutes, commandments to the best of your capability. But that fear, because everyone's gonna go off. You're always gonna have slip-ups. Everyone's still gonna go off. Okay, every member of the elect still gonna go off. We're in these fleshly bodies. Okay, that's why the Apostle Paul said, the things that I don't want to do, I do, and the things I do, I don't want to do, because that's the chains of darkness. The Lord has that set up, member, to humble you. It's just the way the Lord has it set up right now, but that's okay. Remember, this is why there has to be that established order. So right here, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, because if you go off, okay, you're not just going to say, well, fuck it, whatever, I'm not going to do a video, or I'm not going to fast, or, I'm not going to do nothing because, well, whatever, I went off already, fuck it. If the Lord destroys me, he's going to destroy me, fuck it. See? That's because you don't have the fear of the Lord, See that? A lot of people say, well, if I die, fuck it. The elect, the prophets, they're saying, if they go, they go, but they're being noble about it, because they're putting their best foot forward to please the Lord, and to be a soldier for the Lord. So if they go out, so let it be, but they're not walking around like, fuck it, I don't care. That's the difference, see? Because they're gonna lay down their lives willingly if it comes down to that point, as a good soldier for Yahweh Shem Shai. See, but you got some morons out here, some degenerates out here that are totally like saying fuck it, like but being a gremlin, being a total degenerate, like not even giving a damn, like, well, whatever, well, you know what, I went off, fuck it, I don't care. See, the Lord's gonna destroy them very bad, because that fear of the Lord, you're gonna get right, you're gonna make the adjustments. Yeah, you may not have a good week, you may not have a good month, but when you get back on your feet, you're gonna be like, yup, I gotta do this, I gotta cut off this from my flesh, you gotta trim your lamp, if there's things that are in the way from you fully serving the Lord, then you gotta cut it off. I know it ain't easy, but you gotta cut it off, See, and even I myself, I got things that I'm still working on, it's just the way it is, baby, because we're coming out of this world, You have to totally become a new creature and put off that old man. And it's not easy. It's not easy at all, because we're in the valley of the shadow of death. So every corner, is something for you to go off, sin. Every time you turn around, there's something right there to tempt you. I mean, we're in Babylon. We live in the valley of the beast. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, shoot, it's not easy. But this is what this is why that fear is important. Because if you go off, you're not just gonna say, oh well, fuck it, whatever. You're gonna be like, nah, like, hey, I'm gonna make things right with the Lord. You're gonna make it right. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna make the adjustments. You're gonna pray more, fast if you have to. Read more, study. You're gonna make the adjustments to please the Lord. You're not just gonna sit there and say F it. Because the elect truly care about the Lord. Because they really serve the Lord. They really care about the Lord. And they're really fighting for salvation and hoping for mercy. So the elect are going to make the adjustments. One way or another. They're gonna get back on track. They're gonna do what they have to get back on point. Absolutely. See? So that's why the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. But fools despise wisdom and instruction. Right there. Okay? Because only a fool is going to say, whatever, fuck it, F it. And that's a terrible thing. You don't want to be in that spirit. A total rebellious spirit. That's just, man. That's something that you really don't want to, you don't want to be in that spirit, My son, hear verse 8. Proverbs 1 verse 8. My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother. Alright? Let's see here. Let me go down a few verses. Okay, you know what? We're gonna skip. Let's go down to the 20th verse. So the 20th verse, Proverbs chapter 1 verse 20. Wisdom crieth without; she uttereth her voice in the streets. Okay, because the real prophets are out there in the highways and byways. All right. Verse 21, she crieth in the chief place of concourse. Okay, wisdom. Okay, Sophia. All right, that's the Lord's words coming out there. All right, on YouTube, on these different platforms. All right, starting with the apostles and elders from Great Millstone on down, and and this truth have it's went worldwide already. She cried in the chief place of concourse, and the openings of the gates. In the city she uttered her words, saying, verse 22, how long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? Question mark. Yeah, because how long are you guys going to love being simple? You see that this place is tearing down. You see Elon Musk and Trump, now what they're like really, threatening each other and all that. But that's just to show, like, these Edomites, they don't respect one another, And look at how fast they betray one another. It's to show you that, they're not loyal. They're not loyal to, they're not loyal, not even to their own kind, their own people, So this is what you have to understand. It's, by people trusting in them is a very dangerous game, because look at how fast. Don't just look at, hey, Elon Musk told Donald Trump this. He's going to reveal that he was over there, with, Epstein and Oh, okay, now, now Trump is threatening Elon Musk. Oh, shit, No, what you really gotta look at is look at these jackasses to show you that there's no loyalty. I mean, they were best friends a couple weeks ago. I mean, a couple months ago. Now look, So that's what you guys really gotta look at. All right? Don't look at so much, oh, hey, he told him, oh, he's gonna make him pay. Oh, shit, No, like, oh, he told him. Don't worry about all that, all the little shit. Excuse my Italian. What you gotta look at is like, look, because look at how fast they backstab each other and they're at each other's throats. There's no loyalty there. All right, this man is not faithful. That's perfect. Okay, that's the perfect word. He's not faithful. He cannot be trusted. See? All right, why? Because he has to have it his way. He don't give a shit. See, they don't care. They have to have it their way. They gotta have it their way. See? Let me see. Verse 22. How long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. See? Because, this is the top information on the planet. To save your soul. Let you know, okay, what's going on. We know what the Lord, the angels, the spaceships, the sleeper cells, the Russians, what's going on with America. They're divided. What's happening between Israel. This is how you pray. This is how you repent. This is what you eat. This is what you don't eat. This is top knowledge right here. You see? But fools hate it. Why? Because you're a fool. Only a fool would be like, nah, I don't want to hear it. You're a damn fool. See? So this is why the Lord's saying that they're fools. Verse 23, turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you, because now the spirit of truth of Yahweh B'Shem El Shai is on the planet. Okay, you had Christians and Catholics preaching preaching this word, but incorrectly. There wasn't a problem, but now that the true prophets are on the scene, now it's a problem. Now you guys want to deem it hate speech and all that. We're teaching out of the same Bible that you Catholics and Christians are reading. See, same thing, but just that we're breaking it down to you the right way. The true prophets are telling you what it really says. That's why it's a problem now. Why? Because the heathens and Edomites are being offended. Because that you're not top dog. That's why, all of a sudden it's hate speech. But, the Catholics and Christians were, you had churches set up all around the world teaching out of the same Bible, King James Bible, for hundreds and thousands of years. Why is it a problem now all of a sudden? Because the true prophets are back on the scene. Okay, the 144,000. See, and telling the world, no, this is what it really means. This is the name of the Lord. This is his name, Yahweh Shai, Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. See, so that's why now the elites have a problem. Because now it's being revealed, of who's who, what's really going on, agents and stuff like that. No, we're not going to go too deep into that, but it is real stuff that is really going on, See? So that's something that you have to understand, it's real stuff that is going on. And that's just for your edification, It's just, not to take too deep or, get worried about it. It's just that those of you that want to learn about the truth, you got to know, like, what's going on out here. All right? And it's not too much, to put you agents on blast and all that. If you want to sell out to Esau, go for it. You're doing your job at the end of the day. But it's just because the prophets, we have to tell you guys the full spectrum. We got to tell you everything, okay? On the food, what to eat, what's going on with the Satanists, what's going on with the Lord, the spaceships, what's going on with the Catholic churches. We have to let you know everything. Spiritual power, civil war, guillotines. We got to cover all sides. Sometimes there's topics that, it's You know, it's not that, you know, maybe a little hard to swallow, but it's the facts. You know, because we gotta cover all ground, all sides. You know, we gotta give you the full spectrum. See, that way you guys can see the big picture, not just, oh yeah, I'm an Israelite. Yeah, no, you gotta know what it is, baby. Okay, you gotta know what it is. Okay, not just, yeah, I'm an Israelite and oh, forget the white man. No, you gotta know what it is, baby. Okay, huh? See, you gotta know what it is. Not just, oh yeah, I'm an Israelite and oh, look at these damn devils and you're going to slavery. No, hey, huh? Slow it down, baby. You know, you gotta know what it is. Know why we're in this predicament. Know why we're in this situation. You see, it ain't just, oh yeah, we're Israelites and fuck the heathen, they're going to slavery. Nah, don't be acting stupid. Okay, because we're not out of the woods yet, Jack. Okay, remember that. So, you know, control yourself. Behave, you know? Slow it down. You know what I'm saying? You gotta know what it is, baby. Not just, oh yeah, you know, start calling every so-called white man out here the devil. Because remember, you gotta watch yourself. Watch yourself now. You know, there's so-called white people out here. They look like so-called white people, like Edomites, but they're actually Israelites. So remember, don't be so quick to judge. You know, even when you're out there with brothers and stuff like that, you know, don't just be looking at these people like, oh yeah, these fucking heathen. And, you know, how do you know? What if that so-called Asian family, what if they believe in Yahweh and Yahushua and you're over here, you know, saying that they're going to go into slavery and you don't even know? So remember, you have to try the spirit first. Don't just look at people and be like, oh yeah, this fucking devil. No, you know, hey, slow it down. Okay? Slow it down, Tiger. I know some of you guys, you know, because of course, you know, we get excited because we know that we're Israelites. And that's not a bad thing, but that don't mean give you a green light to start treating everybody like shit. Okay? Alright? Yeah, because knowledge puffeth up. Because, yeah, once you know that you're the Lord's son and daughter, fuck yeah, you know, excuse my Italian, people are going to be all, you know, all puffed up, you know? And it happens, you know, because with power, people has power, they get puffed up. Look at the elites. That's why they think they're gods now. Look at that. Because they got a little bit of power. See what power can do? You know? So that's why knowledge can puff up. You have to, like, slow it down. You know, control yourself. Remember, you know, remember what, you know, where you're at, you know? You gotta remember these things. You know, remember why we're here. See? Alright, because none of us, we didn't go on that cross. You know, we didn't give ourselves this truth. The Lord, that was a gift from Yahweh Bashai, because faith was given unto you. Alright? You didn't just have belief because, oh, you're just a shiznit. Remember that. Okay? The Lord allowed you to see and to know this truth. Remember. Alright? And the Lord don't need none of us. So, you know, don't be out there all prideful and, you know, remember that, you know, because the Lord don't need none of us, you know, not even the prophets. The Lord said that if the prophets wouldn't speak, he would have stones, rocks, talk. All right, so just remember that, you know, so always just be grateful out there, you know, and yeah, there are wicked people, yes, you know, but there's a time and place for everything. Don't be walking out there like all these fucking heathen. Hey, don't be walking around like that, you know. Judge righteous judgment. You know, you got to try the spirit first. See? Huh? Proverbs chapter 1 verse 23. Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you. Exactly. There it is. Booyah. Because remember, you got to know what it is. Remember? Because right here, I will make known my words unto you. Because you got to know what it is, baby. You know? Excuse me, governor. You know? Because the Lord is making it known. All right? Who he is. Who he's dealing with. Who's this. Who's that. Okay? Who the wicked is. Okay? What's going to happen with martial law. Civil war. What's going on out here. Okay? Why people sell out. Okay, remember, it's not so much, you know, remember, like, oh, just forget these agents and, oh, this guy's a sellout. No, you got to understand why, what's going on, okay? Don't just, you know, like, you have to understand the big picture, all right? See? Because now the truth is being known out here. Now the truth is being known out here because the Lord has poured out his spirit, starting with Abba Bivens when he started teaching this truth in 1969. Okay, from Abba Bivens, High Priest Arya, all right, King Masha, all right, Yaikwab, see? And then from Apostle Tahar, Apostle Gabar, Apostle Ramlad, all right, Apostle Rakah, see? All right, so the Lord put that spirit of truth on the earth now. That's why these elites, they're uncomfortable because they're like, shit, you know? Because this whole time, remember, this whole time they felt that they were, you know, top dog, you know? But now they're butthurt, like, oh, shit, you know, it's not for us? Like, no, it's not for you clowns. It's for the Israelites, the children of Israel. Okay, the kingdom of heaven is for the children of Israel, who are the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. And those of you that look like the other nations but believe in the Lord, but can receive the names Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. See? Verse 24, because I have called and ye refused. I have stretched out my hand and no man regardeth. Because the prophets are out there prophesying, and a lot of even our people, the 2/3 are just, you know, making fun of them, laughing at them, you know. But that's fine, you know. That's why those of you that are teaching out there, those of you that just ready coming to the truth, don't get all worked up. Don't worry about it, because that's what do you think a non-believer's job is? Because they don't believe, so they're doing their job. Remember. What do you think a scoffer's job is? Because they scoff. Their job is just to scoff, be a dummy. But can you imagine that person's end? He or she is not going anywhere. So don't get too amped up, you know, and be like, yeah, well, fuck you too, and get all stupid. Just relax, baby. Just relax when you're out there. You know, there's a time to turn it up, but there's a time to turn it down. You just can't be out there full blast all the time. Remember, you have to teach this word. That way people can learn, you know. Imagine if you had a teacher who was just screaming and yelling all the time, like, damn, I can't even listen to what the hell he's saying because he's just yelling. See? So remember, it's not always just a yelling match. Okay, there's a time you have to turn it up a little bit, but, you know, you want to make sure this word's coming out clear. You know, you want to make sure, you know, like when a teacher's breaking down something to you, a math problem, this is how you solve this equation, you know, you want him to be screaming and, you know, all over the place and just fucking yelling and, you know, nah. See, you probably be like, you know what, I gotta leave. I can't even learn because this dude just is yelling the whole time. This shit's annoying. See? Because remember, the sheep got to eat. So you got to remember, the little ones, you have to teach. Not just be out there just a yelling match. You know? See? Yeah, you want to lift up your voice, you know, at the trumpet. But not so much where, you know, our people can't even hear what the hell you're saying. Because it's all about the message, mijo. It's all about the message, mijo. You know, you have to get that message through, you know, and keep it simple, you know. I believe it was, I think it was Yaikwab that said, oh, all you need is one word, you know, all you need is one word, you know, because you keep it simple, you know. With the wicked, you don't have to be like, oh yeah, the left-hand side, the Edomites, you know, they're evil because this and that, and Saturday they sacrifice babies, and Sunday they throw this, and they don't even take out the trash, and Monday and this and that. It's like, hey, relax already. One word, baby. Hey, they're wicked. They worship Satan. That's it. Boom. You don't gotta be like, oh, they do this and that, and I saw them doing that, and on Sundays they do this, and like, hey, kick back, relax, baby. You know, keep it simple. One word. You know, just they're wicked. They follow Satan. They're on the left-hand side. Okay, because either you're rolling with the Lord or you're not. See, you ain't gotta do all that extra. You start doing all that extra, you look ridiculous. You know, it's just like, yeah, all right already. You know, like, all right already. See, so that's why it's just one word, simple. You know, boom, straight to the point, bam. All right, because people gotta know. Okay, look, is this person trustworthy? Yes or no? Hey, that's why the Lord said, let your yea be yea and your nay be nay, because it's simple. That's why we're telling the people, hey, can these leaders of the earth, can they be trusted? The prophets are telling you, by the Spirit of the Lord? No, they cannot. They do not follow the Lord. And gotta be all to sacrifice babies and do all that, and yes, that comes with time, but just keep it simple, straight to the point. Can that person be trusted? No. That's it. It's yes or no. But that's why we're telling you, look, this person's over here. Trump, yes, he's on the left-hand side. He's with Satan, 100%. People say, scratch their head, say, well, really? Hey, that's up to you, But we're out here to tell you what it is. Who's on what side? What's going down on here? We're not going to be over here and be like, oh yeah, they do this over here. They sacrifice babies on Thursdays over here. No, we're not going to do all that. It's just, we're going to let you know what it is. Look, this person's wicked. Oh yeah, that person with the Lord? No, that person's not with the Lord. That's it, straight to the point, see? All right, because if you believe in the Lord, you don't have to worry about all that, okay? Because the Lord says he's going to protect his elect. So if you're with the Lord, you don't have to really worry. You don't got to worry about that, because the Lord and the angels are going to take care of the wicked. All right, it's just your job to walk right. Repent. Do the best that you can. You know what I'm saying? All right. Focus on your walk. Focus on your health. Keep your faith. Build up your faith. You see? All right. Go into the stories of our forefathers of how the Lord delivered Daniel out of the lion's den, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. You see? All right. This is what you have to understand. All right. You have to really know that. You see? All right. So you got to go into those stories, because it motivates you. Like, damn, well, they got delivered. Remember that. Because remember, some of you might go to concentration camps, and remember, just because you get hindered up, it's not like, oh, hey, the Lord forgot about me. No, that's just your walk. Remember, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, okay, the Lord waited all the way to the last minute, all right, to deliver them. See that? They actually got thrown in the fire, literally, They literally got thrown in the fire, See that? So, you want to talk about a clutch play, a last minute, okay? He literally got thrown in the fire. You see? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And then the Lord was right there as they got thrown in the fire. So imagine that. Some of you are going to get thrown in the concentration camps. See? And the Lord's going to wait all the way to that time to save you, But remember that, just because, it's a prime example like that. Just because some of you, get thrown in there, it don't mean that, oh, hey, the Lord forgot about me. Fuck, man. Damn, I did this, and the Lord forgot about me. I did all this, and the Lord's not even there. No, it don't mean that at all. Look at Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They literally got thrown in the fire. You want to talk about last minute, a total clutch play? Look at that. Okay, look at Peter. They were gonna take him out the next day, But when they put him in prison, all right, when they put Peter in prison, the angels busted him out of there. So he actually went to prison. It's not like, oh, hey, they're gonna come, like the angels told the Lord, hey, they're gonna take Peter to prison. Let's not let him take him. No, he let him take him. See, and then the angels got him that night. You see, when he was thrown in jail, chained up, and all that, and then they had two soldiers protecting him and all that, just to show you that a lot of the elect are gonna go through things. So that's just to build up your faith. You got to remember that, because the Lord will wait till the last minute. You may think, oh no, just because I got thrown in, oh man, the Lord forgot about me. Or let's say they come take your family, your children. That don't mean that that don't mean that that's it. Okay, that's just your lot. That's your test. And the Lord wants to see. Okay, let's see how this person's gonna react. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta remember that. With Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, Peter. Okay? Alright? It's something you have to really understand out there. You see? Because it's a very serious ordeal that, what's happening. Alright, so with that, keep the faith. Keep the faith. Stay strong on your feet, soldier. Shalom.